One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
In fact, the top super PAC associated with the Harris campaign has let it be known to some reporters that their internal polling is, in their words, a little less rosy than some of the public polling. Some other Democratic polling firms that I've talked to in the last couple of days say the same. They say the battleground states are virtually tied. In a lot of the public polls right now, we're seeing Harris up a few points, often within the margin of error. They're suggesting it's a little closer than that. And as we well know, polling's been pretty off the last couple of cycles and in favor of, on Election Day, Republicans being undercounted in the polls, therefore doing better on Election Day. Joe Biden was up by several more points in the polls they ended up winning by 4 years ago. So believe me, Democrats coming out of Chicago, they feel really good. The vice president is going to be on the road some next week, also beginning the debate prep. They feel like they have the wind at their back, but there's a lot of work ahead because this race is going to be decided most likely by a razor-thin margin, despite how flailing Trump seems to be at the moment.
It's going to be close. And Chris Matthews, I remember the Real Clear Politics average in 2020 in Michigan going into Election Day was Biden +9. There were polls that showed Biden winning Wisconsin by double digits. Of course, everybody thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win. I talked to her pollsters after they exit polls at 6:30, 6:45, and they said the question is whether we win 6 or 7 swing states. Everything's looking great for us tonight. Democrats have a reason to play scared, to play as they've all said, like we're 3 points behind, a field goal behind.
What about tonight? Because when we met last week, you were undecided. What about tonight made you decide you were going to vote for Trump?
Her speech was great. I like how she went into personal history again. It was just not moving for me.
But it made you think that Trump's a better candidate than her.
He's here for it. He's a little bit more aggressive.
Today, RFK Jr. had suspended his campaign endorsing Trump. Kennedy telling reporters that Trump had asked him to, quote, enlist him in his administration. Now, the latest swing state polls show Kennedy with 5 or 6% of the vote. And so when you think about it overall, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. Actually, if that is the case in swing states, it is huge. It is everything. It is more than the margin between Harris and Trump in some of those same states.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama.
I foresee a lot of screaming from the nuts on the left very, very soon. Thank you guys for joining in on a Saturday afternoon, right after the huge announcement of RFK Jr. endorsing, and not just endorsing, but agreeing to campaign and participate with Donald Trump in his candidacy for being the next president and resuming where he left off and getting rid of these nuts and all of the different things that they want to do. At this point, it's looking really, really good. Anything can happen. We got a couple months to go. Very interesting. I put up a poll earlier and I said, how many of you have begun to, at this point, interact and engage with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. supporters? Tomorrow, probably after church, let me say about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As you guys know, I always wait 24 hours, 48 hours to see what happens, what kind of impact is going on. And then, of course, on Sunday, you always have the Sunday morning shows. So tomorrow, about 3 o'clock, I'm going to go live with a recap of what's happened since RFK Jr. has announced. You won't want to miss it. I've already got a bunch of stuff compiled. These people are absolutely losing it. They're in the media, the consultants, they're all absolutely losing it. And it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. I'm loving it. But in the meantime, I also have a big, huge compilation of RFK supporters who have now said they are going to be voting for Trump. It is glorious because these people are like, he's right. He told us exactly what they've been doing to him. Many of them didn't know. They didn't know all the stuff that he just put out there yesterday. I thought the video that I made live yesterday during his announcement was going to be taken down because, as I told my wife this morning, he didn't touch the third rail of censorship. He was holding on to it and riding that third rail of censorship. He went places, like they said in Star Trek, places where, you don't even know where to go, just someplace out there. He did everything. He talked about pharma. He talked about big tech. He talked about our food. He talked about government agencies. He talked about what happened to his uncle, what happened to his father. And I'm sitting here reeling. I'm like, oh, this is just going to go off at any point. There's no way they want this out there. But a funny thing happened. It's still up. And what I've been seeing lately, which is really, really, I'm going to talk about tomorrow, is have some of the elites now been given reason to come back to earth? Are they now seeing the writing on the wall going, okay, we gave these nuts in the Democrat Party everything they wanted. We did all the censorship. We did all the different things. We pumped up their posts. We did it all. And they forced upon us Kamala Harris. And you want us to continue? Perhaps yesterday was a turning point. I've been seeing so many people I would not have expected, come out and go, I'm voting for Trump. And when I show it to you tomorrow, I don't want to give too much away. I think you're going to understand what I'm seeing. I believe at this point, the way it looks today, that the country, not just Trump, the country made a turn and woke up from this stupor and said, enough's enough. Absolutely, enough is enough. This is so freeing. I think people were waiting for somebody to unlock the puzzle. How do we get out of the grip of this Democrat Party? We got intertwined with them, and now we're stuck, and now we're unstuck. Stay tuned for that tomorrow. So today's show is one I want to tell you. Go out and hug an RFK supporter. make sure they're welcome, because you know what? The other side is screaming and treating them like crap. Show that you're better. Show that you want to build a big coalition. And if you have some reason that you're sitting back going, I'm not sure about RFK and I'm not sure about Vivek, and get over it. The theme today, all over X, I don't go to Facebook anymore, but all over X the theme is saving America. Forget make America great again. We can do that. The first order of business is to save America. There's no making America great again if he's not in office. So in order to do that, we got to save America. We got to get him elected and his coalition, and then we can do all the other things to make America great again. Just remember that. Put all your differences aside. Do some kumbaya moments and hug a RFK supporter and say, let's do this. Let's just obliterate this Democrat Party. Enough that being said, now we're going to talk about the polling data. And the polling data at this point, as I mentioned in my last polling data, which was last Friday, I couldn't do my polling data show yesterday because of what happened with RFK. I got bumped. So I'm doing it today. But it's funny because, as Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen says, where y'all at? Well, you tried to hide. You've been hiding. You had this perfect plan. We know what the plan was. Any of us who looked and stared at this political stuff knew what was coming. They were orchestrating this so that they would have the Democrat National Convention, and then she would give this amazing speech. And after she gave this amazing speech, then they were going to release all this data, and all this data would have been like, she's crushing Trump. She's up by 9 points here, and she's up by 8 points there, and 6 points there. And they never expected what was going to happen. I've been telling you people for a long period of time, Donald Trump is a master marketer. I salute him. Being a master marketer doesn't mean all your plans work. It means you have plans that could work and could work very well. Well, we saw yesterday a masterful plan. Anybody who's in boxing or martial arts or, MMA, you know a big part of being successful in the ring is counterpunching. Understanding when you get swung at, what are you going to do? How are you going to move after that punch comes? And then how are you going to counter and take that person out? Whether it's a right to the chin, whether you're sweeping the leg, whatever it is, you exist to look for the opportunity after they take their shot as well. If you're being aggressive, then also you're looking to plan a shot, and you understand how they're going to react so that you can react again. Same thing in chess. You're looking at the chessboard. If I move here, they're probably going to move there. Then if they move there, I can move here and I've got them. What you just saw over the last 48 hours was Donald Trump being an absolute mastermind. He knew, just like I knew, just like many people knew, that after that convention, they were going to try and basically manipulate the polls to death and come out the day afterwards and say it's over, she's way up, there's no way he can possibly come back. That first video you saw, the beginning of it was, what's his name? Morning Joe. And they were setting it up. Hey, you just got to fight like, there's no tomorrow, but it's looking good. They never, not her campaign, not the media, nobody planned on the counterpunch. Nobody on that entire side saw it coming until it had hit him square in the jaw. How bad do you have to be as a campaign manager to not understand if you do X, you might want to expect Y, Z, W, all of it. You got to know what might happen. Generals, when you're talking about war and the art of war, and you want to look up some stuff from Sun Tzu, it's all charted out. Well, if we hit them here, they might hit us there. And if they hit us there, we can go here. The Democrats just waltzed into this convention, thought everything was going to be fine, and that nothing would happen. But it did. And you have further proof of that because they had the convention. It ended on Thursday. Now, a smart candidate on the right after the convention would have said, I've got some momentum. Let me get out there right away and have something ready for Friday. She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything today. I don't see anything scheduled for tomorrow. And she allowed Trump to step in and basically become the story. Erased her speech from Thursday out of everyone's memory. Now the media and everybody else is focusing on Trump and RFK Jr. Masterful marketing. Masterful. In a grand appearance. A setting that you could only imagine. Fireworks going off, pyrotechnics, a 12,000 sold out audience. People like me and other YouTubers out here talking about it. And then boom, he shows up. After he dropped the nuke on the media. See, he did that speech, what was that, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then after that, he goes over and he meets with Trump. So the entire day, basically from 2 o'clock p.m. when they kept, they couldn't get on, they couldn't go live, wink, wink. That's probably was to keep people in suspense, keep it building. Then he goes at 3, talks for an hour, hits on a plane or whatever he did, got to where Trump was, walks out on stage there. And so the entire evening, basically the entire day when it started coming out, everybody was talking about Trump and RFK Jr. And I mean everybody. And so now, since last night, it's spilled over to today, and there's been no counterpunch in return. Counterpunch, because Trump was the counterpunch. There's no counterpunch in return by Kamala's team. And now tomorrow you've got the Sunday morning talk shows. So what in the heck is she going to do? She has given Trump basically 48 hours, possibly 72, because nothing's going to happen before Monday, of him just owning the news cycle and people just wondering what the hell happened. And now you've got these pollsters who are sitting back going, oh my God, what do we do now? Like you saw in that video, even CNN is like, hey, well, he's got 5 or 6% there. And these people are going to break one way or the other. That could be the difference. And when they start doing the polling, it's going to be very tough now. Now, understand the pollsters have got to pull all their data back, all of it. Because it was, and I'm going to show you, most of it was a 5-way, polling. Now they're going to have to pull the RFK stuff away only in the battleground states. They still have to leave him in the blue states. There's no way they're going to turn that around in 24, 48 hours. Because now they're going to have just so many different polling subsets. Hey, well, Pennsylvania can't be included in, California. California can't be included in Oregon. He's staying on those. He's staying on enough. And there's another reason why. I meant to tell you yesterday. Let me just stop and tell you this. They're looking at 2028 already. There's some kind of rule that if you get 5 or 6% of the vote, that you automatically get to start a new party. That's why you're hearing this unity party thing. So if Trump, hopefully, God willing, gets elected in 2024, 2028, watch out. So let me show you what I'm calling the latest, the realest, because we know these people have been doing this stuff. Let's go first to the what do you call it, the electoral map, and let's look at this thing. All right, so bingo, you guys can see it now. Let me take a sip of water here. This is the latest electoral map as seen and put together by this company here. Makes it interactive so you can click on different buttons. If you notice already at the very top, they already show Trump winning 287 to 251. They've moved Arizona. Last time I checked, it was Arizona over here was blue. They've now made it a light pinkish color at this point, meaning it's leaning red. Well, I'm pretty much going to tell you, since the Supreme Court decision saying that newcomers can't vote, I'm going to go ahead and make that a solid red. Let's just call it red. Without the newcomers trying to cheat, that's going to happen. So as you look at this right there, it's 287 to 251. I'm still saying Pennsylvania is the keystone. He's got to take Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is important, but he only needs to take Pennsylvania if all the other blue stuff stays where it is. She's got to win Minnesota. She must win Wisconsin. Illinois is pretty much in the tank. Michigan. She's going to have to win Michigan and Wisconsin. No doubt. She loses either of those two states, doesn't even matter what happens to Pennsylvania. Let me show you. If this goes red and Michigan goes red and Pennsylvania goes blue, he still wins. Still wins. But let's say she takes both of those. And we're at, what did I move? I moved something because it went the other way. Anyway, Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is a must-win for Trump to get to 287 if she wins all those other states. In addition, Virginia. They're still showing Virginia in the blue camp. I don't know. I just have a sneaking suspicion. I just have this something in the back of my mind says now with RFK Jr., Virginia may be in play. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I think Virginia is now in play. Makes sense to me. So some of the story here is we got to do Pennsylvania. But we have to do Pennsylvania if she takes Wisconsin and Michigan, which are not guarantees either way. So instead of a huge battleground state, and everyone's been talking about the 7 battleground states, nope, not anymore. As you guys look at this, you can now see that there is only, let me pull that up, the only battleground state, Arizona is no longer a battleground state. We're talking about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I don't even think Georgia is in play anymore because he and Brian Kemp made up. Everything looks solid in Georgia. I can tell you Florida isn't in play no matter what they tell you. That's not going to happen. So we're talking about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That's the 3 states. At this point, that's what I'm going to go with. That's how I'm going to call it. Let's look at now RCP. RCP, as I tell you, is the aggregate of how things get polled. This is the 2024 general election, Trump versus Harris. However, we can no longer look at this. So let me give you a little hint here. When people start talking about the polling says this or the polling says that, if they're talking about a 2-horse race, they can no longer talk about that if they haven't done something with the RFK vote. So, like right here, they've got Harris up 1.5 in a national poll with the aggregate. But when you go to the 5-way, let me click there, they got Harris at 2.0. But see, you're sitting right here? Right here is 5. I don't know if that's big enough for you to see. In the national 5-way poll, you got Kennedy's 5 point sitting there, just sitting there. And they're going to have to do something to make sure at this point that those numbers are taken account. Now let's start looking at the individual states. Arizona, based upon the 5-way, they showed Harris at 0.6. However, Kennedy has, let me just make sure I get this number, 5.8 in the aggregate. As I've told you, look at these polls. In order for her to get to a 0.6 lead, the biggest polls down here, this one here from Bloomberg, this one here from Cook Political, and this one here, we'll give her New York Times Siena. Look how old these polls are. This may sound the same as I said last week because they're not updating. They're playing games. This is from July 23rd. That's an entire month ago. A month. July 28th, August 2nd, August 15th, August 17th. The aggregate poll for Arizona ended on August 17th. I'm pretty sure something's happened in the last week. I'm sure something's happened in the last 24 hours. This entire poll is garbage. Now they're going to have to sit back and figure out, how do we make this work? Because now if these two here, number 2 and number 3, are together, how do we still show her, how do you possibly show her ahead? 45 to 44, including polls that are nearly a month old, and you don't, now you got to account for this. You got to account for all these Kennedy voters. He jumps up to a big lead. If they don't manipulate it, huge lead. That's Arizona. And again, now too, also remember, Arizona is the state where the Supreme Court just said you can't have the illegals. Oops, sorry, newcomers. Nevada. Okay, Nevada, the 5-way. She's got nothing. She got nothing. So pretty much Nevada is no longer a swing state. Let's just take that out right now. She's done. Because even you put in Kennedy's 5.3, it's over. No, like I said, this is no longer a 7-state battleground thing. It's down to a couple states. That's the big news after the Kennedy endorsement and participation agreement. This is now just down to a few critical states. So this one here, Nevada, even though these things are old too, there's no blue. There's no blue showing, and it's only going to get worse. Wisconsin, which is one of the ones I'm thinking is actually a swing state for now. They show her winning by 1.5. Again, all these polls. The last poll that was taken was Rasmussen on August 19th, nearly a week ago, and they were tied. All these other polls, look, can you see? Look how old these polls are. a month, the 28th, August 1st, August 2nd, August 8th, August 14th. Don't tell me they're not manipulating the data. There's a reason. Just like when they stopped counting votes in 2020, why do you think they stopped polling? Well, we know they didn't stop polling. Let me rephrase that. Why did they stop reporting? They were planning on a big dump, a colossal dump after the convention. Now they can't do it. Whatever numbers they had fudged, they can't even release. Trump basically destroyed the polling industry. Now, it was epic. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Trump absolutely eviscerated the polling industry. He saw what they were doing. He knew the perfect time to launch this attack with RFK Jr. would be the day after she spoke on stage, before they had a time to release their manipulated polls. Now, what do? You're all these polls who've been sitting on stuff for a month, and now you've got 5 points in a very slim race, supposedly, that you have to account for. In order for them to show her winning, they'd have to say, well, she's going to get an overwhelming portion of the Kennedy vote. Ain't going to happen. You can't lie. He just made the polling too big to rig. Masterful marketing. You guys get that? I'm going to take some comments in a second, but he made the polling too big to rig. Who knows how they're going to... In this state, it was 5 points. A 5-point Kennedy with a 1.5 Harris lead with polling data nearly a month old. And the last time was Rasmussen on the 19th. I follow this stuff every single day. I look for it. I look to see what's going on. Before I go to the next state, let's go ahead and take some comments on what you guys are seeing in some of this stuff. Trump and Bobby stole their thunder. Yep, absolutely. Trump, too big to rig. He's already setting up the too big to rig. It's in play. The rally Trump had yesterday in Arizona was the best I've seen. Yes, it was. I have to admit, that was the best rally I've seen. It's still processing in my lizard brain. Laughing, I believe you. They are going to cheat. If he could only get California, man, that would be epic. I think they're too far gone out there. But you can only cheat given the actual numbers. Let me explain that for a second. Let me break it down into easy numbers for the math. If there are only 100,000 voters in an area, in the state, obviously bigger, I'm just using for math. There's 100,000 voters. And Trump takes, 60% of those. And so he's got 60 and Kamala's got 40. Well, you can't go to 110 to beat him. Because now he's got RFK Jr.'s a good portion, I'm going to show you that, of his voting block. There's not enough to cheat. You can't go over 100 legally. So he has raised the ceiling where they can't go over that number in certain areas. I mean, they could probably try to delete some of his vote. I don't know. The amount of cheating they would have to do would be so outrageous, so visible. I don't know how they would do it. There's nobody leaving this time. I don't care if there's a flood inside of a counting room until you shut it down or everybody drowns. Nobody leaves. Don't say we're going home for the night and leave a couple people here. Nope, don't let that happen. Trust nobody. So tell some boys in the hood, hey, here's $100 a night. Sleep in front of this drop box. Let me know if anybody comes here with a single ballot more than the one they have in their hand. Stake it out. Spend the money on the ground there. Nobody is going to drive up and drop boxes and boxes and boxes anymore. There are going to be people everywhere. And unless they get a National Guard person or a cop and say, you can't stand here, well, hold on a second. I mean, let me get your face and everything. What they did in 2020 was exposed so badly and so covered up. Now people know where to look. Even with the computer fudging, it's going to be very hard. Down here in Florida, we're going to go to paper ballots. So it's crazy what they can do. Vote in person, yes, but also vote, early as well. Do whatever you need to do. Just go ahead and vote. That was crazy last time. See, people were too nice. Hey, we're all going to go home. There's a leak in the 4th floor. We don't want anyone to get wet or moldy, whatever. Let's just all call it a night. We'll come back tomorrow. Okay. We'll come back tomorrow. And you wake up tomorrow and it's like, what? What do you mean? They told us all to go home. Who is still counting? Too late. Sorry. We did it. You trusted that people were going to follow the law. This time, people aren't going to trust people to follow the law. They are going to make sure you follow the law. There may be altercations. There may be violence because you're not going to get people to look away. Don't even think about putting up stuff on the window we can't see. We'll break the damn windows. You are not going to do anything covertly. I'm telling you right now, people will not let this, to the best of their ability, be stolen. They knew the tricks now. They know what they did. They covered up the windows. They told everybody to go home except the people they needed. They brought up vehicles at the back door and unloaded shit. No. We're all going to be looking for that now. We're all going to be looking at the drop boxes and seeing who's there. I'm going to put a ring doorbell camera on something. People are going to be doing all kinds of crazy stuff to make sure these people don't do it again. The only thing we don't control is if they decide they want to go nuclear against Iran and then he tries to, or she tries to, if she's president at that point, say, yeah, we're not going to have elections. Then you may have an insurrection. Then you may have the insurrection that you've been afraid of. Catch the 10,000 mules. And again, understanding where Trump learned from and everyone else did, the counter surveillance, like a counter punch, is what they're looking for. They're going to have I bet you, I can imagine, there's a room with like 1,000 screens on it, and it's pictures of various drop boxes, and people can actually look, okay, you guys focus on this one, you focus on this one, and you're watching and recording everything. it's going to be very, very hard. Keep having RFK Jr. at his rallies. I would say for the foreseeable future, but he probably won't, because he's going to have RFK get out there on the road to start talking to people, his people. Hey, listen, you need to vote for Trump. You believe me? Yeah. Then if you trust me, vote for Trump. What I really think they need to do is jump back in to Twitter. Reach another billion people. Now, I'd love to... Can you imagine a live video feed of Elon, RFK Jr., Trump, JD, Vivek, all sitting there talking for an hour? I couldn't even imagine. Couldn't even imagine. Hey, Carl. Yeah, and God protect these people. Now in the hands of the watchers of the voting booths. That's may God help them. That is exactly where we have to go. RFK is his own general. Yep, let him do it. Fool me once. Yeah, you guys know how that phrase goes. That would be epic. At this point, I'll go out. If I've signed up, tell me where you want me to go. I'll pack a sandwich. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna take binoculars. I'm gonna hold my camera up, put my film up, make sure I got a charger, and take pictures of everything. Everything. Oh, I forgot. Yep. Plus Tulsi. Did Taylor Swift endorse Trump? I have not heard that, and I don't even know if she means anything. I mean, come on. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, except for one thing, which I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the effect of the so-called elites making that turn, not necessarily to Trump, but away from Kamala, towards America. I don't know if you guys saw, but at the Nevada, a couple of the Las Vegas Raiders, the quarterback, their MVP, defensive end, Max Crosby, Gardner Minshew is the quarterback. They all started taking pictures with Donald Trump. In addition, Patrick Mahomes, the all-world super quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, his wife, Brittany, she was posting about Trump. And which means, and people are deducing, well, if the wife is for Trump, more than likely, yeah, the husband, Patrick Mahomes, is probably for Trump. He hasn't come out and said it, but your household can't be, it'd be very hard to be, with the nuts and with Trump at the same time. So he's probably, people are deducing, he's probably a Trump guy. And I'm waiting, and in any event, he's going to stick up for his wife. You guys aren't going to come and abuse and troll my wife. Ain't going to happen. So, Las Vegas for Trump, absolutely. So disappointed by Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr and the other guy from San Antonio, that guy, the white hair, forget his name. But they're idiots. They've obviously had to sell out for some reason. They knew it. Trump gets a new ad. Yeah. There's an ad I'm going to post tomorrow. Amazing ad narrated by Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and she talks about what he did back during the war. It's very touching. I'm going to show that to you. It's obvious at this point Democrats cannot be trusted. How do we keep them in check? Eyes. James Carville. Okay, I knew somebody would say that. Let me just address that. James Carville and his wife Mary Madeline. The two of them. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. The Conways, they divorced or are in the process of divorcing. James Carville is an old school Democrat. Mary Madeline, I think that, whatever her name is, she's a Republican. James Carville right now is playing a role. He's a minstrel. He's out there talking about stuff, but he doesn't believe in the stuff he's saying. He knows there's a problem with Kamala. He's trying to play the role for the Democrat Party, but he knows there's a problem with Kamala. He's not off to this communist stuff. If you see some of the stuff, and I have featured some of his stuff here, he's a Democrat more like RFK than, the Biden-Kamala camp. So that's a little bit different. God is bigger than everything that has been happening. Absolutely. The real unburdener is the Lord, Jesus Christ. USA save Trump. Beyonce and Swift sent a message. Go woke, go broke, taxation situation. That, my friends, that Edwin is mentioning here, that is causing a lot of people to go, I ain't down with that, yo. How much? 60, 70% unrealized capital gains? Hell no. That's a lot of people who are like, well, maybe I can't say it publicly, but I'm not doing that. I'm Tay-Tay. I'm Queen Bey. I make big bank. And I'll wave a flag with you, and you know, I'll endorse you until you said something stupid like you did, that you want to raise taxes to 60, 70%. Not playing that. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z ain't playing that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of celebrities. I'm like, no, that ain't happening. You want to tax my unrealized capital gains at 25%? You realize how much money I have invested in property? Taxes? I mean, stocks? No damn way. Big bucks, yeah. Taxing unrealized gains makes zero sense. It's like to me, it was almost like you wanted to throw the election because it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Hey, you didn't make the money yet, but we're just going to take it from you. Sound good? Yeah, okay. No, it doesn't. All right, so let me continue here and show you, continue with these polls. All right. So we left off here. We are on Wisconsin. All right, let's go to the next supposed swing state, Michigan. Michigan five-way shows Harris up 2.4. And then once again, you're down here to a month old, July 24. Remember, these people are in business to make polls. That you don't have any, if you're a pollster, there's nothing else you're doing. I don't want to know what flavor ice cream Dementia Joe. I don't care what kind of color lipstick Kamala's going to wear. The only reason you're in business is to make presidential polls. Did you close shop? Did you decide you're not going to do it anymore? Or were you playing games? Because as you can see on here, Rasmussen was the last poller to post something a week ago, again, pre-RFK. Everybody else doing nothing. Why were they doing nothing? You got to think about that. They knew what was about to happen. It was an orchestrated plan. They were going to drop Nagasaki on Monday. Probably Hiroshima or the rest of them on Tuesday. They were going to make sure that the numbers were such a knockout. Trump and Trump supporters would just go, oh man, she crushed it. And so they waited. And they waited. And they waited. And now they're screwed. In this particular state, where are we again? Michigan on this one? Yeah, Michigan. Kennedy was shown to have 5.9. 5.9 puts Trump up. How are you going to manipulate this? You're going to lie to people and say RFK Jr. supporters are all going to go to Kamala? You can't hide that. This one is probably the one that she may maintain, depending on how they do the rest of the polls. They could probably make it look like she's still ahead. Maybe. 5.9, nearly 6 points. Look at the Detroit News. Detroit News, Kennedy has a 10, you got to look at this. Kennedy has a 10-point share in Michigan. With the Detroit News, with the people who live there, and she was only up by 1. 10 points to Kennedy. How are you gonna fix that? If she had 42 and Trump had 41 and Kennedy had 10, even if Trump only gets 60% of that, boom, 40% of that, and the rest say we're not voting for her, she's gonna get very little of the bounce. 10 points is sitting there, and I just can't wait to see how these people try to manipulate that. What are you going to do with that 10 points sitting there and try to make like Harris is got a big bump? Not going to happen. All right, so let's go to what I consider the keystone, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has Harris up by 2 points. Again, a month ago, July 28th, July 28th, August 2nd, August 11th, on and on and on and on and on. Even Rasmussen is a week behind. Kennedy here has 4.4. It's going to be very, and that's 4.4 overall in some of these other polls. He's got 7 at Fox. He's got 5 by Cook. He's got 6 by Franklin and Marshall. And he's got 5 with Rasmussen. Those numbers have to now change. They got to go back into the kitchen and figure out how we're going to make this recipe and show that she's ahead. It's going to be very, very hard. When you do hear what the new polling data is, you need to come back here and check. And remember what I said to look for. Where is it? They don't put it here, and they do it in the main poll, but they didn't do it. That one key, likely voters versus registered voters. Likely voters are better polling data than registered voters. Now, here's what's interesting, and begin to pay attention. This day in history, on August 24th, 2020, the Democrat was up by 5.7. In 2016, the Democrat was up by 9.2. She's at 2.0 with bad polls. Already, with just 2.0, she's not even as close as Dementia Joe and Clinton were on this day in 2020 and 2016. You have to know what to look at when you're looking at this polling data, because everybody on television will just say, oh, our latest poll shows that Kamala Harris is up by 4 points in Michigan. I'm like, wait. Let's go back. Can we dig into this? Can we see what's going on? Because now you know what to look for. When they release their polls, come whenever day, look and see if there's a Kennedy column. They may leave the Kennedy column in there just to throw off the numbers for Kamala. This man is no longer running for president. There's no reason for you to leave that column there anymore, except to basically sway the polls. So what they may show you is that, oh, we ran these polls on Thursday before he dropped out, so we still have the Kennedy data in it. That's some seriously bad, deranged polling. You have a much better data set now because Kennedy is out. Why would you release all of a sudden a poll based upon the 23rd? Oh, because we need to fudge the numbers and show her ahead. No. You can't you cannot on Monday or Tuesday release polling data that doesn't have and doesn't reflect what happened with Kennedy. That's malpractice. Watch for it. I'm telling you now, watch for it. Whenever somebody says in the next polling data, when they give you a number, look at where it says this, where it says the date, not the date of the release. Because they'll say Monday is, August 27th, and here's the poll for August 27th. No. When did you compile this data? That's usually under the ledger. And it's, we compiled this data. It's valid as of August 23rd or August 22nd. Nope, game changed. Game changed on August 24th, and you didn't even wait to show it because you want to manipulate everybody to make them think that Kamala is way ahead. You now know what to look for. You can go to this website yourself and see where things stood on these various polls on that date in history. In Michigan, Biden was up by 7, Hillary was up by 8. In Wisconsin on this day, Biden was up by 4, Clinton was up by 11.5. She's not performing as well as Dementia Joe did, and you know what they had to do to make Dementia Joe win. Arizona, which we know they did funky stuff. Biden was up by 2.2. Trump was up by 1.5 at this date in history in Arizona. And you know what Arizona had to do. All right, so let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, there's basically no data here. We got 4 pollsters making an aggregate showing Harris, or showing it a tie overall, and a month ago, August 2nd, August 5th, and here's 4 points for Kennedy. They were planning a huge fraud on the American people. Trump took it away from them. But they may still try to do it. But as of right now, you can see. So Pennsylvania, this is the one that I'm saying is basically the bellwether. The average has them tied. So right now, the main pollsters have them tied before RFK's somewhat merger. And there's 4.3 points sitting right here. So if they're tied overall at 45 each, and Kennedy is now with Trump, ergo, I consider myself decent in math. She can't possibly be ahead in Pennsylvania. Can't possibly. You've got polls a month old that show they're tied right now without him having any votes from RFK. Don't play any funny business with me on Monday or Tuesday. I can see it. I can see the math. I can see what's going on here. There's 4.3 points right there that you're going to have to find a way to even put her near the top. Let's see, that's North Carolina. Pennsylvania, I showed you, same thing. All right, here's Pennsylvania. I was on the wrong one. Here's Pennsylvania. They show her, this Pennsylvania? Yeah, Pennsylvania right here. They show her 2 points ahead. Again, bad data, and 4.4 sitting right there, unaccounted for. This is going to be epic if they try and fudge these numbers. Don't know how they can do it. Georgia, I think that's pretty much far gone. It's going to be Trump. There's no blue anywhere there, plus this 4 points. So Georgia's off the board. So we're looking, in my estimation, at 3 swings. We're looking at Pennsylvania, which is, within where he's going to take her. Michigan, where, he's got 5.9 points. And Wisconsin. So there's a chance, a good chance, that Trump could take all 3 of those states. He could take Michigan, he could take Wisconsin, and he could take Pennsylvania. It could be epic. Can't take our eye off the ball whatsoever, but you can see there's data right there that's not being utilized in these numbers. And who knows what they're going to try and do. Let's see here. Who trusts them? No, not I. But at least you know what to look for now. She's still sipping her vodka thanks to RFK Jr. Somebody wrote something here. There has never been a presidential lineup like Trump, JD, Elon, no, never. There's never been that kind of coalition. I find it to be unbeatable, unstoppable. There's nothing they can do about it. And the worst part about it for them is they can't even use the media to do it anymore. I mean, think about it. Between Elon Musk reaches, every time he pushes a button, 10, 15, 20 million people. Now Trump can reach 5, 10, 15 million people. RFK Jr., he's got 5. They can't touch it. Nobody wants to read Kamala's gibberish because they know it's not her. In fact, I'll show you guys tomorrow, Kamala's team, it's embarrassing. Kamala's team made fun and mocked a man with an impediment. RFK Jr. speaks badly because he's got that dysphagia, I believe it's called. There's something wrong with his larynx. And they made fun of it. CNN made fun of it. When you have no argument to go up against the data and what he said, now you've resorted as a presidential candidate to just say, well, he talks funny. Well, what about what he said? I couldn't even understand it. He talks funny. That's where they are. That's how desperate they are. Somebody's got to end for Trump. I can't put that up because I get in trouble, but I hear you, brother. Trump wins Michigan and PA. It's going to be... Tulsi Gabbard is amazing. It's going to be very, 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 very troublesome for them at this point. I mean, I can't even imagine how bad they must be thinking in terms of what they're going to have to do to try and make the numbers even look presentable to the libnuts. because right now it's probably even worse. We know it's worse. Trump's got the internal number. You know, one thing that Trump said, let me go back here. He keeps saying it at every rally. And I don't know where he's getting his data from, you know, internal polls. He keeps saying that Minnesota is in play. So Minnesota is up here as part, you know, this blue wall, they call it. I don't know why he says Minnesota is in play, but he keeps saying it, so he must know something. I don't know. But, you know, if they lose Minnesota, that's part of their big, you know, big area. So that would be very, very interesting if he could make that happen. There's something on X saying Georgia will probably go for commie. Nope, ain't gonna happen. Just go ahead and just delete them, go past them. Ain't gonna happen. At this point, now that Brian Kemp has come out and said, I'm in the Trump camp and I'm going to use my resources to help Trump, don't have a shot. Atlanta, Fulton County, all the crap that's going on there, you know, they may try to do something in Fulton County to fudge some stuff. But like I've said for many, many, many times, and you guys have heard me, they got some problems with the brothers. It's not showing up in any of the polls because nobody wants to talk about that. They don't even want to touch it. That's like another third rail for the Democrats. Oh, in fact, was it the senator from South Carolina said, oh, no, he's not even going to get like 2% of the black vote. Okay. They don't want to touch that. They don't even want to make that an option. They don't want people to know that that's actually in play. Remember, I've said the entire time I've been doing these videos, that's why I pretty much crowned him as president a month or two ago, when I started seeing the numbers with the black vote. And I'm like, that's insurmountable. I'll tell you again, the math. Dementia Joe won with 4 or 5%. However, to do that, he had to have 85 to 90% of the black vote. And now he's getting about 68%, 70%. You ain't got to be too much of a mathematician to understand how you making up that 25%. If I took 25% of your money out of the bank account, I don't care what you say, it's not the same, and it's going to be very hard to make up. Nobody is talking about that. And it's just one of the biggest data points ever. And I'm seeing video after video of people, you know, putting out there, I ain't voting for no damn Kamala. In stronger language than that. I see black people squealing and saying Kamala's full of it, and she's trying to give me $10,000 to say I'm behind her. I ain't doing it. I just want to let you know. What would most people do if somebody offered them $10,000 to go ahead and make a video? They'd probably take that money. So there's something there where the fact that you can't even buy people, if you can't even get these young people to go ahead and make TikTok videos other than Harry Sisson, who obviously will do anything for any amount of money because, you know, first he was, yeah, Joe. Oh, Kamala. You sold your soul, bro. But just remember, nobody is talking about the black vote. Nobody's talking about the Hispanic vote. I'm going to show you tomorrow how many people in the RFK camp are completely pissed off. They're calling it the murder van. I call it the baby disposal RV. The fact of the matter that they brought a baby disposal RV to your national convention, it has turned so many people off. People who were Democrats are going, that's a bridge too far. You want to bring that's not something that should be front and center. And then Elon Musk talked about, I'm getting too far in tomorrow's show. Don't miss tomorrow's show. It's going to be good. So there's a couple other things I want to bring to your attention so you can see the chronological way things are moving. This was put up by Rasmussen, and the date of this is August 21st. During the middle of the convention, not after RFK. He's trying to let people know, and he's been trying to let people know, they're fudging the numbers. They're holding the data. So what they're doing is they're polling fewer Republicans, remember the sample size, so that if you poll more Democrats than Republicans, you're going to get the data that you want to show people, so you can manipulate it that way. They're polling a disproportionate number of Biden 2020 voters in these states that were dead even. There's smart people doing this, so I think it's intentional. Yeah, it was intentional. Do you understand what he just said? I know it's okay. If the state went, let's say, 75 to 73 in terms of the percentage that, Biden only won by 2 points, you wouldn't poll 10% more Democrats and 10 less Republicans to give you that huge gap. You want to keep it close to what historically the polling shows that the voting demo has been. And they're doing it this way and showing way more Democrats. In addition to that, they may go in there and show many more young people, or they may show certain, demographics that they wanted to show, but they're not giving you real data. And so what he's saying, they're doing it intentionally. They're fudging the numbers, and if you know what to look at, you can prove it. This tweet here was from August 22nd, so the next day. If the 2024 election were between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, who would you vote for? Independents only, please. Trump 51%, Harris 40%, someone else, and look at that someone else 5%. Last week it was Trump plus 9. It went up to Trump plus 11 during the Democrat National Convention, and that 5 was still sitting there. So that 5, someone else can only be one of those 5 contenders. People are actually running. Which means this was before the RFK thing. Trump's number is going to go up. Watch for that on Monday, Tuesday, whenever they decide to show it. And then Mark Mitchell comes back and says, just finishing processing our 5,600 voter poll, massive combined swing state poll. And again, 3% of likely voters who plan to vote this year said they were non-citizens. With that 3% saying they were non-citizens, and this was taken on August 22nd before RFK, they were essentially tied with 3% of the people responding being ineligible. Are you getting that? 3% of the people that he just polled said they were going to vote for this or that, and they're not even eligible to vote. And it was only tied. And now you've got this 4 or 5 or 6% looking over here going, well, now we're going to look over here. It's getting ugly for the Democrats. Very ugly. Now, this poll was taken, and this is very interesting. This is late night, 10:30 p.m. You can see. This was right about when she was speaking or just after she was speaking, depending on, the time that she started talking. It says, and so people started talking about what was going to be happening on Friday. So this leading report here, actually the report was from JL Partners Daily Mail poll. RFK Jr. support favored Trump over Harris by almost double, 51 to 26. So if 5 out of 10 RFK supporters are going to Trump, and only 2, not the rest, because as you can add that up, 51 and 26 is only 77. So there's 23% unaccounted for who haven't made up their mind yet. But at that point, 5 out of 10 versus 2.5 out of 10, you can see Trump opening a bigger lead. And this was the night before the big speech. I throw a lot of data at you. I hope you wash it down. Maybe you have to come back and watch this a second time and go, damn, Barry's just throwing all kinds of data at us. We ain't used to this. But you got to know. You got to make sure you're getting the right data and that you're understanding. So Mr. Andrew Yang, Mr. Andrew Yang, who ran for president last time, decides he's going to go ahead and put up a poll. Yeah, I want to know myself. I understand So this happened yesterday as well. Yesterday at 5:23 p.m. This is after the announcement, but before the appearance. after the announcement, if you're an RFK supporter in a swing state, who will you now vote for? 253,000 votes later, a Democrat person shows a poll, non-scientific, I will say that, non-scientific, 82-8. Not quite the result he was hoping for. It's going to be bad. Brace yourself. Don't get too cocky yet, but it's going to be bad. The numbers that they're hoping for are just not there. All right, and so today, the day after the announcement and the appearance, newest number, the only person putting anything out for some reason is Rasmussen. Latest Rasmussen poll, Trump holds a 3-point national lead over Harris, 49-46. This is after her speech, after the announcement, and after the appearance. Trump is up by 3 points nationally. They haven't released the breakdown state by state yet. If the Republican candidate is up 3 points nationally at this time, you can only conclude that it's basically game over. At this time, let me see if I can show you what I mean. Let me go back here and go back as far as I can and show you some of this data. Because what you have to look at when you put all this together is compare it to the other times, 2020 and 2016. So I'm going backwards, getting back to the national, so you guys can see. Okay, this is the national general election. Look at the number. In August of 20, this is general, so you can see here, general election, that's all the states, national. At this time, this date, August 24th, Biden was up by 7.8. Clinton was up by 5.4. You seeing this? You can go back further if you want. Historically, the Democrats are always ahead in national polling. Why? Because they have the bigger volume of people on the East and West Coast. So they have all in national data. When you collect everything, they're always supposed to be ahead. With her being behind by 3 points today, it's game over. No Republican is supposed to be leading in a national poll. It's almost impossible for a Republican to be leading in a national poll of data in a general election. She's got huge problems. Donors are going to see this. And the only way at this point she can probably turn it around is if Trump goes in and completely flubs the debate, which I don't see happening if she even shows up. He should almost say, nah, I'm not interested in debating her. I don't know. You want to duck? You don't want to. I just don't see how it happens. And so the other debates that she's not going to go to, he's going to do town halls. He's got RFK Jr. out there. He's got Elon Musk putting stuff out, and she's got nothing. The big guns have already been fired. That was during the convention. Michelle Obama, she's not out there going to be campaigning. Barack, ain't going to happen. Hillary, no bueno, she's not going. Bill, nope, not going to happen. She's on her own with the horse milkshake guy. That's it. I'm almost thinking she's not even going to have many of the entertainers anymore. People read the tea leaves. Right now, they don't have many tea leaves to read. And so a lot of people are going to sit back and go, whoa, wait a second. RFK's come in. Just the surface, the topical data says she's in big trouble. And so now Trump just has to not make any mistakes. RFK Jr., get out there. Elon, Tulsi, you got so many subordinates. Vivek, everybody get out there. Don Jr., Tucker Carlson. The next big part, the next ring on Thanos' hand. Talking about my Avengers here. You watch for it. it won't be too far in the future where Trump is going to sit down with Joe Rogan. With RFK Jr. now in the House with Donald Trump. Joe Rogan, with his feelings about the jab and how, the kind of health nut he is and how close he was to RFK Jr., I tell you right now, they're already talking. I'm thinking that would be the second to last eternity jewel he needs to put in. She won't be able to overcome it. These other people are not going to get behind her. Nobody wants to get behind a losing candidate, and it's only August. It's only August. So I think it's just going to snowball. But look for a Joe Rogan endorsement, because he was RFK Jr. You heard last time, and I think now that was all set up. You know, between Trump and RFK, I'd go for RFK. And people got all pissed off at Joe Rogan. I'm like, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. It's a setup. And damn sure it was. So now, since he's an RFK fan, he's got no choice but to come back home. Joe's going to come out and endorse Trump, and they're going to do an interview to his 20 gazillion fans. She can't compete. There's nothing she can do. Absolutely nothing. The media is now feckless because all of us, us small YouTubers who are out here talking about it, we have small audiences compared to Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and Trump's own audience, and Vivek and Tulsi. It's glorious. You're going to watch her scramble at this point. The media's going to try and prop her up. Nobody's watching the media. I get more views on some of my videos than CNN gets. You see, Don Lemon had to basically stop. He wasn't getting any views. Chris Cuomo is with Newsmax or News Nation, one of the two. It's a new generation at this point. If you're not able to reach eyeballs, you can spend as much friggin' money as you want. You can go out and spend $1 gazillion on commercials. If you're like me, you hit this button on your television, or you pre-record and then skip. Shit, I know how many people complain about the commercials on my videos. Some people just don't want to watch commercials. That's fine. So why would people spend, like her, go out and spend $20 million on CNN? Oh, besides the payoff. Nobody's watching them. They're ineffective. And now, what are you going to say? The media's getting pissed off. She's not doing not doing interviews. It's getting bad. It's getting bad. All right, so can you answer my super chat? I always do. I do all the super chats right after this, so yes, I will get to it. Socialism is a crime against humanity. Absolutely it is. That's the... What's it say? The said Barry has a far-reaching conservative YouTube channel. I don't know if it's far-reaching. I try to do what I can. I don't really care about the numbers that much, but if enough people want to hear me, the market, in my estimation, dictates where I go with it. Agreed, Barry. It's over for the Democrats. Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard. I'm waiting. Vote early. What's my opinion? I know a lot of people say vote early. They say vote early so that the numbers are in and that you can basically track your vote better. I'm in South Florida, so ours is down here. You're going to have to look at your state. I don't think it's a one thing fits all. I think a lot of it has to do with your state and who. If you're in Atlanta, if you're in Georgia, I would vote early. Because all the stuff that happens in Fulton, you can look at the areas of problem. Fulton County, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Detroit. If you watch historically election night, what do you always see? Well, we're waiting on the black people to count their votes. They don't say those words, but they say it this way. Oh, we're waiting for the urban voting districts to come in. Every single time. Oh, we're waiting for this area here in Philadelphia to turn in their votes. Yeah, because they're doing the same thing. How much you got? What do we need? That ain't going to happen this time. There are going to be enough eyeballs, I feel. It would have to be so egregious for them to do that kind of stuff all over again. Got to cancel. Let me just tell you something about the Foo Fighters and some of these people. All they're doing is virtue signaling. When you do an event, especially at an arena, an arena that does concerts, when you book an act, and I've done thousands of festivals and concerts, you don't know what the set list is on that particular artist. They may come out and do a Beatles cover song. Oh my God, we don't have the rights for that. Yeah, you do. Every single venue pays an ASCAP or BMI fee so that that music can be played. You don't need the artist's permission. Unless the artist has specifically said, I do not want my songs played during this type of event, which they would tell the promoter in advance. But every single artist, you already know it. So it's bullshit. Bull crap. It's all it is virtual signaling to the, I didn't give them permission to sing that song at the rally. I don't need your permission. I've got an ASCAP. If you don't know what ASCAP is, go look up ASCAP and BMI licensing. Look up ASCAP and BMI licensing for arenas, parks, restaurants. Imagine if you couldn't have the rights to a song, and you walk into your local, Italian restaurant, and as you walk in, they're playing Sinatra. How are they allowed to do that? Well, they just don't turn on Sirius and blast it. They have an ASCAP license. Some people try to get around it, but eventually the ASCAP mafia will come knocking on your door. And they charge you based upon how many seats you have. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So every place you go, Starbucks, any place, elevator, you hear music, somebody has paid for the rights to play that music as background music. A performance license is different. If somebody came and got up on stage at one of Trump's rallies and decided they're going to play a Foo Fighters song, whoa, hey, that's a different license. If somebody wanted to sell a Foo Fighters record, that's a little bit different. But playing that as a background music, the venue already has it covered. How many times have you gone to a hockey game or a football game and they play some that was somebody's song? All the different chants that they play at games, those are somebody's records and songs that they have put out. Even the guy from the boxing and wrestling, get ready to, I can't even say it here because I don't have a license. But he licensed his voice saying that stuff, getting ready, I can say it, get ready to rumble. So when you hear these artists talk and chirp this stuff on Twitter, it's all bullcrap. All bullcrap. Hey, Barry, you rock. Hey, man, I've seen people from Australia, Canada, Croatia, Thailand, Ireland, the UK, and all over the world here. You brought us all together. That was basically my main objective in doing this. I watched a lot of other channels, and I said it would be my pleasure if people just didn't listen to me, but they also took the time to interact with each other. That's when I know, hey, listen, now we're building, it's not me just talking at you, it's a community of people. And everyone's talking. I'm going to get much better at the comment replies and stuff. I'm hiring somebody, and if she's watching tonight, she knows who she is, and she's going to be helping with the comments, helping manage with the moderators, definitely with the super chats, because I get so busy. I'm staring at this thing, and it's very hard for me to just stare at here all the time. So I can only move over and look every once in a while as things come through here. There was one I just, like right now, there's something I saw, and I wanted to say something. Okay, this one here. Oh, crap, where'd it go? All right. Rogan's reach is beyond massive, mostly libs. Great point. He has a massive audience who already knows he's an RFK fan, RFK Jr. So they've accepted him as an RFK Jr. fan. It's not going to be hard for him to say, well, if RFK Jr. is supporting Trump, I got to support Trump. That's how that's going to happen. That is definitely how it's going to happen. Let me continue here. That's the marvelous thing about the internet. Yeah, just people getting together and talking and enjoying. And just to let you know, that person who's going to be working with me on here, should I say it? Yeah, it's going to be my daughter. She's up in North Carolina. You watching that? You watching? and gonna be getting her involved in the family stuff and seeing what can happen here. So be easy on her when you see her. Be easy on her. Who fights Fu? Who fights Fu anyway? You know what's funny? Somebody wrote on Twitter, you got more notoriety from complaining about Trump than you have with your music probably in the last couple of years. I mean, come on. Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, formerly with Nirvana. You ain't been doing much. You know, you're in the classic rock category at this point. So, you know, be happy people are talking about you. Thank you very much. Also, thank you very much, very, very, very much. All right, so let me go ahead and give some props out to these people who have been so generous again tonight. So this is going to get better too, because like I said, my daughter's going to make sure I know to look over here. Where, you know what, let me try something for the first time and see if I can possibly put these on screen. They make it so hard to basically put these up. So I'm looking to see if I can do it this way. Wait a minute. Yes, I can do it this way. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this so everybody, every night, I'm going to do this so everybody gets recognized. Here we go. And from the top, okay, let me go back to the top. And Dave Parker, very pleased to see how CNN cut the audio when Kennedy started dropping truth bombs. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, that was awful. As soon as he started talking, oh, we got to go right now, then that's him talking crazy. Robert Bean, thank you very much. Let's start off right and welcome all to the Unity family. Everybody is welcome. Henry Schrader, Ohio is prosecuting 138 newcomers for voting in primaries in Ohio. I thought it was like 600. I thought it was even higher than that. Just another knucklehead. Thank you again. Tip jar, no tax on tips. Excited about RFK Jr. Chris, wow, thank you. 100 pounds. He's over in England or Europe. Use this as a gift to your followers, however you wish. I love you and your patriots, and I shall do that as well. What's this? Maslaren X, thank you. Tesla 54, Tammy Humphrey, Mr. Suarez or Miss Suarez. Polls were showing Kamala ahead before DNC. That shows they are getting another steal ready. Yeah, they were going to try and get the numbers close enough where it made sense for you know, to try and cheat. Chris, thanks, Chris. Trump train, toot toot. Maria, thank you very much. Only poll that matters is ours on Election Day. Vote Trump, Vance, welcome RFK and all supporters. You guys got to be open arms to the RFK supporters. They've been told that we're nuts. They've been told over and over, oh, these Trump people they're just crazy, so stay away from them. Show them different. BLS Doom Crew, thank you very much. Barry, I live in D.C. State. How does my vote as a Republican really matter, seeing how it's by electoral votes that wins the POTUS? How does it matter? Because you're being represented. You're representing that you don't like what's going on in D.C. That's how it matters. Just, you don't accept it. Let people know. Be vocal. I don't like what I'm seeing. That's how it matters. You've got to start somewhere. Mauser Cat, thank you very much. Our brothers and sisters, we need you to save our country. God bless. Mr. Suarez and Miss Suarez again. If Trump gets over 100 million votes, they can't hide the steal. Nope, that's exactly right. The more we get out there, make it too big to rig, then there's no way there's just not enough people there for them to fudge the numbers. Mike the Plumber, thank you. Mr. or Miss Osgood, RFK supporters will vote for RFK in the 40 states that are not swing states. How do they figure that into national polls moving forward? This is something that they're going to have to explain how they're going to get to their numbers. Personally, I think the blue states on election day may be very surprising. I think when we see what happens, because we're in uncharted waters right now, where this guy is probably the first person who's ever done this and says, I'm going to get myself off the ballot here, but I'm going to stay on the ballot here because I'm going to take votes from Kamala because I want to make sure my Unity Party in 4 years is up and running. Just another knucklehead. Love gift. No tax on love. Thank you. Where's Mr. Wait a minute. I thought there was, Angel Melendez. Thank you. What's up, Barry? Connecticut. What part of Connecticut? I am from Windsor, Bloomfield, West Hartford, that's where I grew up, all through that area. Robert Bean, Barry, you always speak truth, only way to speak. Alice, Barry, you need to get Trump on the show. I wish. Maybe I should just go camp myself out in front of Mar-a-Lago. Wait a minute, I almost got in trouble for saying it's not Mar-a-Lago, Mar-a-Lago. Somebody actually emailed me and said, say it right, you sound ignorant. Mar-a-Lago. Barry, we love you. AVP, thank you. Mike McCarthy, Barry, you're the man. Okay, why did it stop? Okay. And Ryan, thank you for all that you do, Trump 2024. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Don't think I did, but that's what my daughter's going to be helping me out doing. So let me know what you guys see in the next week or so in regards to the polling data. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to follow up and make sure that these people don't cheat. I'm going to keep showing you the data. You need to look at this data, look deep over the next week. Look to see what Rogan does. I think that's going to be very important. I understand that also RFK Jr. and Trump are going to do a joint appearance with Dr. Phil. He's got a huge audience. So they're all beating her to the punch. I bet she huddled this weekend with her team again and said, I wouldn't doubt if people on her team said, you got to get out there. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to hide. You're going to have to get out there. Because at this point, this guy's, it's August, he's going to drown you out. And your rallies, watch for her next rally. Watch for her next rally and see, can she really draw a crowd without having somebody on stage twerking? I don't think she can. I don't think, unless she's got celebrities, that she can actually draw a crowd on her own. That's going to be a big, big, big telltale of where her campaign is. But now you know what to look for. Look for Dr. Phil. Look for Joe Rogan. Look for the rallies that she's got. Look for the rallies that Trump's got. Trump's got 2 coming up this week. So I'm just to let you know, I'm going to have to juggle this. I don't have this studio in North Carolina. When I go to see my daughter in North Carolina, I'm going to have a makeshift studio, so I'm going to try and make my way through it. Might be a lot of fumbling. It's going to be a mobile studio in a hotel, actually a Verbo, so we'll see how that works out. But Trump's got, as of right now, he's got 2 rallies scheduled. So he's got a big week. 2 rallies. JD's got a rally. Dr. Phil show. I'm looking for Joe Rogan to do something. And then who knows what he does during the week, if he jumps on with Elon Musk or anything else like that. In any event, thank you guys for hanging out on a Saturday night. Let me get you out of here early so you can go to dinner, spend some time with the loved one. Peace. Thank you. Thank you, fellow Trumpians, for showing up. Like I said, I've got that RFK Jr. Video tomorrow. I'd say about 3 o'clock or so, after everybody gets home from church, had some lunch, relaxing. And also, it's football season. I watched Florida State get beat by Georgia Tech. What a game over in Ireland. Talk to you tomorrow. Be here about 3 o'clock.